Hello and welcome to another episode on Mars Bonsai channel. Today I'm sitting here with Hornbeam, which you know from previous episode about collecting Yamadori trees from the wild. This tree was collected and the whole collection process is in the video, which you can find in a link here or in the description. And this is its first season in this box. It was planted in this box. Root work was done on it in spring 2025. Some 7-8 months ago. Now it's time to remove some leaves and look how the wounds are healing on the tree and what are the possible next steps. So let me quickly just remove some leaves and extensions which grew, and then we can look in the detail what happened in this tree in the summer season 2025. So this is a situation which is happening to many of you. You collect your tree, you have it for some time in your collection, and then you are thinking what is next step after some kind of initial styling. This is a tree which I collected purely for demonstration purposes. It's not some kind of special high quality Yamadori tree, just normal, straight, ordinary hornbeam. Now, the big challenge is if I am able to turn it into something which will look credible and nice. I remember then when I posted last video with this tree, I had a question from one of the viewers from Slovakia who was asking me if I can provide some kind of sketch of the possible future design, because the way I work, I never sketch the trees. I just work with what I have in front of myself, and then I'm trying to somehow work with the branches which are there, with the structures, with the structure which is there, and to build. And I have pretty good imagination, so I never needed the sketches and never been very good in drawing. Although I believe it's very useful skill and it can help tremendously. So maybe one day I will do the sketch, what I'm trying to achieve with this tree and what is possible. But maybe not today. So you have to count on your own imagination. So as you can see, I was growing these leaders. There was one apex part here, which was grown here, removed here, and another one was grown in 2025. So this 1.20 meter long shoot was grown in one season. The second one in this part where it bifurcated into this and this section. This is amount of growth which a healthy tree is able to push in one season. I have to look at the previous video exactly what was said there. So I'm not going to clean everything. Since its initial phase of development of the tree, and tree is not really restricted in its growth and it's growing really widely, and I'm allowing tree to produce this kind of extremely long extensions. Obviously the result of this unrestricted growth is really coarse growth, really huge leaves and huge internodes. The point is that this is initial stage of development, and you are not going to build the ramification and everything which is now here will be not necessary and will not be used in any future design. So only minor parts of, let's say, one or first internode from each branch will be used in a future design. So I'm not concerned about size of leaves, about length of internodes, and so on and so on. These are the things which will concern me maybe in some 5 years time from now or so on. Now it's not important. The big leaves means a lot of energy. A lot of energy means fast thickening of sub-trunks, maybe additional thickening of a trunk itself. Of course, it's contributing to it, although I don't need more thickening in the trunk. As you can see, it's already impressive size. It's easily 20 centimeters wide at the nebari, at the base of a trunk. So, but any thickening which is happening is also contributing to thickening of the base. Now I can clearly much better see into structure what happened there, what was achieved, and now I can do a little bit of pruning. It would be most probably a little bit better to do it maybe in the spring, but we don't know what can we expect. So this is how the tree looks like. Now there are a few problems with this tree. One problem is that it's keeping moisture here in this pocket, which is deep, so it's concentrated water. I have either possibility to take really long drill and drill it through the trunk so the water will drain out, or I can fill it somehow with concrete or with something like this so the water will not stay there. I don't know what I'm going to do. There was a couple of wires on a tree in last year. All the wires were removed when the growth was really strong, so I wasn't able to control it anymore, and I wasn't sure if this very fast growth and thickening of the sub-trunks will not grow into the wire, and this was the last thing I wanted, to have these initial parts of a trunk to have massive scars from the wires there. Only one wire which I left was this one, which I used to pull this little branchlet there, so I can remove it and see it's already holding in place. I haven't used the rubber here, so maybe there could have been some damage. So once again, what we have here, this big scar sealed, another one. As I was telling you in the previous video, I'm still not sure about definite height. Most probably I was thinking about removing it somewhere at this height. So this will be removed most probably. I don't remember what I said in this previous video, I have to check it. These are most probably the final heights. What we have here, we can check how well this wound is closing. So it created some callousing, and it's healing, but again, what I'm going to do in the spring, when I will do some maintenance of this tree, I'm going to take this knife and cut it, open the callus again on both of those cuts, and to promote another aggressive creation of callus. The smaller wounds, like this one, maybe we can see it. This is completely healed. This is completely healed. This one, most probably also. I can expect that this, I will just remove these leaves. So here the cut paste fulfilled its role, and that's why I was saying that I shortened this big leader here and sealed it, because I wanted to have a little bit smaller wounds which have a chance to heal in season or two. The longer you keep growing those leaders, the bigger the cut you have, and the higher chance that it will never heal. For example, these are 2.5-3 centimeters wound. It will take a long time, maybe never. This is like 4 centimeters of wound. We can take a tape and measure it. So here we are talking about 7.5 to 8 centimeters of wound. The second biggest trunk is in the widest space 6 centimeters. So it's much bigger. So in case I let it grow very, very long period of time, then these wounds will be too big and I may have problems healing them. Since what I'm trying to achieve with this tree, I was telling it again, I'm going back to the design. I'm going to wire it in the spring and grow it in this kind of flame shape up. So all the branches which will have just small internodes and a little bit of bends, and will grow up. Every branch will grow up, very similar like ginkgo is growing. It's unusual maybe for hornbeam, but this is material which all the 3 subtrunks are growing up. So of course I could grow a little bit and create some kind of tapered trunks, maybe up to this height, and then do horizontal branches like with the traditional design, but it would look really awkward in my opinion. So I'm not going to do that. There is enough trees out there which are styled in this manner, and I don't think the world needs another tree which is styled in this style from me. So I don't need this. I leave this one. I need this one to thicken, so I will leave most probably this for a whole year. Open this wound, so this is also almost completely healed. So I will put a new paste here, but it looks good. I have to maybe add a little bit more angle here. So I want this be really, really thick, much thicker than this. And from those, I just remove excess. So for example, I have 2 here. I'm not sure if I need this one. It can stay. I need this one, but this can be much shorter. So for now, I will shorten it like this. This is going from inside, so it's going away. So that's basically it for today. There is not much to do. All this will be wired like this. All these branches will be wired like this. This will be even shorter up to here, but I will do it in a spring. Also this will be touch shorter, and everything will grow in this kind of manner up and away and create this kind of oval shape crown. It's easy work, not a lot of work to do in the first few months. It's completely different if you are getting into, let's say, refinement stage where you have thousands of branchlets on a tree, when you need to spend a lot more time to work on your trees, because you have so many cuts to do, so many decisions to do. This is maybe one of the most important moments in the styling of a tree, because this is deciding how the tree will look like, all those initial bones of the future subtrunks. And in case you are not doing this properly, for example, if I leave this part the same length, it's like 10 centimeters of length, even more, 12 centimeters of length, the same diameter. In case I leave it like this, it will stay here forever. So this is very important. Also here, in case I leave it like this, it's 13 centimeters of something. So it's always better to go and start with another branch which is much lower. For example, from this cut, it's only 4 centimeters from this cut to this branch. So I will have bifurcation here and not here. So in case I leave it like this, some of those buds will wake up and I will have bifurcation which is here, and this eventually all these branches which are here will be inside the crown in the future, in next, let's say, 10 years. They will not have enough light, enough energy, and tree may decide that the tree don't need them anymore and they may die. This is what is typically happening. You have to protect all those branches which are somewhere inside the crown and don't have enough light, don't have maybe the allocated so many resources as those which are prioritized by a tree, because they are up somewhere in the trunk, providing the biggest amount of energy from photosynthesis for a tree. Tree clearly knows that and may decide that something which is hidden inside is not providing enough sugars, so can drop them. So it's always better to start working on a taper on another branch. But it's winter, I have another 3 months of winter, so I will leave it and I will redo it in spring. Reclose this one and close the wounds which I created, so they are not open for whole winter. One more thing which happened on the tree is that here was during the summer I discovered that this part is drying out, and I didn't want to have big scar here and didn't want to jeopardize this connection between those two trunks. Unfortunately, it happened, and it happens sometimes on hornbeams, that you have some part of a trunk dying, maybe due to frost, maybe due to sun or some other reasons. I don't know. There are many conflicting theories why it's happening. I don't know, but I covered it. Maybe it will help, maybe not. In case there will be some hollow place, I will have to deal with that. So that's it. Few cuts on hornbeam. Let's see how I will continue to work on this tree in spring 2026. It's going back into winter storage. We'll wait for another moment when I will work on it maybe on some root work, maybe not. It was reported this year, so it's not really necessary. So in case you have some questions regarding this hornbeam or Yamadori trees or regarding any other topic, write me in the comment section below or in a community page which is working. I'm really happy that you send me your trees and I can give you some opinions about them. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.